This is an I Am Listening exclusive podcast.
I'm Numi Gildert.
I'm Harriet Taylor.
And you're listening to Tech Girl Energy, the weekly debrief.
Our picks of this week's tech headlines.
And what we think of them.
We're aiming for 50% informative, 50% fun.
Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to another week of Tech Girl Energy, the weekly debrief. I'm Numi Gildert.
I'm Harriet Taylor.
And we're going to dive into our favourite news stories of the week. And we're starting off with quite a big one. It's basically on every tech news page.
Yeah.
This whole week.
I mean, if you've not heard about this one, I'm not going to say you've been living under a rock, but...
Where you been?
No, where have you been? But so the US tech stocks have now steadied after DeepSeek AI shock is the headline. Now, people might be wondering, what is the DeepSeek AI shock and why are the US stocks all over the place? So DeepSeek is a AI that a Chinese company had unveiled. We did mention briefly that the UK government said that they were going to invest in AI. That was a few weeks ago. Then after that, the US government said they were going to invest lots of money in AI. Now, when the US government said they were going to invest lots of money in AI, I think it was about £500 billion, they said.
It was a big number.
It was a big number that Donald Trump announced. And I think within the space of a day, China has unveiled their version of AI called DeepSeek. And it turns out it cost them around $5 billion to build. And they've also made all of the models public. Now, what that means is it's completely undercut what US is trying to do. And that is why the stocks have taken a tumble, because I think the US were probably taking a bit of a gamble on AI here. And everyone's been saying how you need these really super powered computer chips, like NVIDIA have been producing, and lots of people have been using the NVIDIA chips to run their sort of AI models on. Now, what China has unveiled is a lot less resource heavy and a lot cheaper, which means that people do not have to spend this amount of money on what they're trying to build, for example, or use. So that is why the stocks and shares have taken a tumble.
It was a really bad day to own shares in NVIDIA.
Yeah. To be fair, even Tesla, just American tech companies in general, they'll probably bounce back. I don't know if they'll bounce back to the same extent, but it kind of gives a sense of, you remember the dot-com bubble and when that burst? I think everyone's been, beefing up AI as the next big thing, you were going to make loads of money for it. And I think in a sense, with putting so many tariffs on tech imports and exports with China, it's kind of forced China to have to innovate, and they've actually out-innovated the US.
Yeah.
And I don't think the US expected that.
No, I don't think anyone did. And there's been a lot of discussion. I saw one article comparing DeepSeek to ChatGPT and Gemini. And from those kind of early comparisons, I saw one article that compared its ability to help write an article, help write some code, and then also come up with a story. And it seems to be competing on quite an equal level with those kinds of requests. And apparently it was with the coding. This was an example that went viral on LinkedIn. ChatGPT wasn't able to solve the problem, but DeepSeek was. So it looks like it's not only already performing at the standard of OpenAI's ChatGPT, which is obviously the industry lead, it looks like it could outperform it in certain requests as well. So it's an interesting week.
Well, yeah. So if we just look at some numbers, so the share price of NVIDIA dropped about roughly 17% on Monday, which wiped almost $600 billion of its market value. So for UK listeners, that's £482 billion.
That's a lot.
More numbers, i.e. a date. So the company, Chinese company DeepSeek, was founded in 2023, and it was by a graduate. He was a 40-year-old information and electronic engineering graduate. He founded this company in 2023 and also founded the hedge fund that backed DeepSeek. And it was only launched earlier this month.
And apparently it's now become the most downloaded free app in the US just after a week after it was launched.
I mean, we've seen a big trend of this. Red Note was the most downloaded app the other week. It's amping up, isn't it?
Chinese apps are having a great time right now.
But yeah.
What are you thinking about it? Because I know we've talked about using AI before. And do you think you'll try it?
I've already tried it. I wanted to see what would happen.
Oh, really? And how have you found it?
It's on par with ChatGPT. I mean, I've not been doing much complicated stuff on there, to be honest, but it does exactly what I need it to do. And you know what? I'm here for it. Not that I'm going to say I love the drama, I love the pettiness, but releasing that a day after they say they're going to give $500 billion to the tech bros in the US.
It's pretty good.
I mean, I feel bad for the US taxpayer, man, because the money that they've just pledged has essentially been wiped out. Like, they need to make sure they pledge that money into innovation and research, not just shareholders' pockets. And I think that's where the US has gone wrong.
Yeah. And I think it's great to have some competition in the industry anyway, so that it doesn't just become a monopoly. Like, I don't think that's the way forward. Obviously, there are some people that are immediately flagging, can it be trusted?
Can the American one be trusted either? Do you know what I mean?
Well, exactly. I think this is a question that we should ask anything that we're saying that we're going to give access to a lot of data with. There needs to be some form of critical thinking. So I think, it's obviously week one. It's already... people talk about making a product that's a market disruptor, but I don't think many people can claim that they've disrupted the market by $600 billion. Like, that's quite a claim.
Crazy. You know what? Like, I think we've been complaining that the internet was like getting really not stagnated, but it was not as fun as it was growing up. I feel like this just shows that you never know what's going to come around the corner. Yeah. And if they're releasing loads of these models that they've got for free, which is going to help people innovate even more, that essentially is just not, I'm going to say ruined the profitability of AI, but it has drastically reduced how much money you can make off it. And it's more power to the people, right? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And it's going to be exciting to see, AI is probably the biggest buzzword on our podcast of people using it in a variety of different applications. And if you have made it open source and free, people's ability to use it as a tool is just, completely opened up. So I'm excited to see what other cool stories are going to come from people being able to use this.
I mean, my closing thought from this, it would probably be... This is not controversial, but I'm just going to say it. We've been hearing the AI buzzword so much. Was that being pushed because so much money was going to be made off it? Will we see a decrease now in AI being pushed because people aren't going to make money off it? Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I get where you... Yeah. We'll see.
Will they just find something else to sort of push and try and get us to use?
Actually, no, this thing that we found that's got diamonds in and is really expensive, that's actually the real future of technology. Yeah. Let's focus on that.
So, that was my one, not negative thought, but, intrigued thought to see where it goes in the future. Apart from that, I think this is really good.
Bit of a weird week if you've got a Garmin smartwatch. Have you got one of these, Harriet?
No, I've got a Fitbit.
Because apparently they all started crashing when people tried to exercise. The one thing that you want your smartwatch to work for. Yeah. Owners of a variety of different Garmin projects reported that the watches stopped working when attempting to start an activity, when they're trying to, obviously for these kind of things, using GPS to track location. So if you're trying to track a walk or a run, and instead the watches just showed a blue triangle that's displayed when the watches are turned on and restarted. Garmin, as a recommendation, said you needed to, power down the device, to do a forced power down, and then they were going to provide more information for a permanent fix. People are speculating, is it something to do with the GPS functionality? Is it like a pre-cache file that there's a problem with accessing that file? I don't know if there's been an update recently, maybe that... I mean, Harriet, you live in this world because you're a software dev. You're like, let's push this update. Great, this is going to be amazing. Oh no, we have broken a key functionality.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to do if you don't test stuff. I mean, it could even be a case of I don't know how these Garmin smartwatches work, but there might be software that runs on them with different versions on it. They might have done a version update that's broken some backwards compatibility in previous versions. I guess it sounds like they don't really know know too much about what's going on. Like, what's it saying? Holding the power button until the unit powers off and turning it back on may resolve functionality temporarily. This reminds me of our chat last week about data centres on the moon. You need to be able to turn it on and off.
What are we going to do if someone's got a smartwatch on the moon? It's just a bad week for them. I mean, can you imagine? There's probably loads of people that have bought one at Christmas or something. They're like, new year, new me. Let's go to the gym. And they're like, great.
Yeah.
Literally.
Someone's corrupted my files.
Because you're not, I don't want to be mean, but you're not buying a Garmin watch for the look, are you?
No.
It's not a fashion statement. It is functional. And at the moment, it's not functioning.
Yeah. So they're saying it's to do with the files of the satellite pre-cache that gets uploaded every few days. So whoever's uploaded that file has not scanned it properly beforehand, right? But it says it's caused issues in the past. So maybe, I don't know how that file's formatted. It might even be a CSV file or, a comma separated file. Maybe there's 2 commas by accident or not enough.
They always get you. They always get you.
It'll be a typo. I bet you it'll be the tiniest bug ever. And whoever sees it will go, oh, yeah, but obviously you've caused issues from millions of people.
It was like the thing that started us doing this podcast was the global IT outage last year, because when it happened we were just WhatsApping each other like, this is why you test your code, because it's a Windows update that bricked the whole planet.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy. So I mean, it sounds like it's an automated process, right? That happens, and maybe it does do a quick check, but this time it didn't check it properly. Who knows? That's what it sounds like. It's not the watch itself, it's whatever file has been input for that satellite data.
So hopefully they'll get it sorted soon and people can go back to,
fingers crossed,
beating new Strava records for themselves. All right, what's our final story for today?
So the last one, you know what, this is quite an interesting one. I feel like maybe every week we should do one like this because it's a similar vein to Fatbergs, maybe not as wild, but a team develops AI tool to find potential for mould. I don't know why you'd ever want to find mould in a positive way, but if you've got mould in your house,
but maybe
you want to get rid of it.
Yeah, maybe it's so that you find it before it develops, so you can catch it before it becomes a problem.
This is good.
I did a deep clean at the weekend and had to demold some bits in our bathroom. And whilst demolder is a fantastic product, you don't want to do it. It's like I have to open all the windows, make sure no one's going to get gassed by accident. I'd rather have an AI tell me, watch out, you're at risk, and tell me what to do.
Open the window. Well, yeah, I'm just reading how this works. I was like, is it going to be some image processing thing? And it says it's a tool developed by University of Leeds Beckett and also with the construction company Build Echo. Now, apparently, the way this is used is it takes sort of information like the size of the building and the energy performance, and it calculates the risk of a house developing mould via that. Now, again, I'm putting on my cynical hat right now. So we put the size of a building in, maybe the year it was made, your energy performance and stuff to decide if it's at risk of mould. Now, I'm guessing maybe it'll take in the location, I don't know, the dampness in the area, the height of
humidity,
and it will calculate the mould. But I feel like if you're at risk of mould and you're in an area like that, you're probably already going to know that. So is it just going to remind you, be like, open windows, have the heating on, or is it going to give you more in-depth stuff? Because for example, I'd want to know where I am, for example, what part of my house might develop mould. Do you know what I mean? Is it going to be near the back door in my back, towards the back garden? Is it going to be upstairs? Can I focus on a specific room? Does it mean I need to reinforce certain things? If it's just going to be general information I can just get on the internet, is it using AI really?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. What do you think?
I think that would be really useful. We've had, again, talking about my house, we've had this thing where our house next to us is currently unoccupied. So we're having problems with condensation in our downstairs bathroom, because where it used to only have 2 cold walls, it now effectively has 3, because they're obviously not heating the empty house. So it would be cool if you could have this tool, because we were wondering what was going on, and then we had to kind of work it out and go, oh, it's probably because of that. But it would be cool if you had this tool that was like, oh, the environmental factors have changed, you've got a higher risk of developing mould here.
Maybe in the app they can, I don't know, build in notifying neighbours or something.
Just like, oi, turn your heating on.
Or something through the council where you can notify the council that there's certain mould issues in the area. You know how you can do with antisocial neighbours, antisocial properties?
Yeah, they're saying in the article, the researchers, they're hoping to roll it out in the construction industry and in small to medium-sized enterprises. So I think that would be quite good if maybe you're like building a new building, you can use these factors to if you go, oh, we're in a kind of environment where it's high humidity, it's likely that there'll be mold, so we need to think about our insulation, blah blah blah, when we're building houses here. Or if you're like renovating an older building, you could use it to help counter those factors.
Agreed.
I like it.
I think it's a good idea, especially when it comes to house building as well, because if you can tackle the problem before it happens. I don't know why, I've just got this image, I don't know if it's a meme or what, but I've seen it going around where it's a piece of fruit next to another piece of fruit, and one of them is quite mouldy, and then you see the mould going from one to the other, right? And it's just talking about once you've got one bad apple or one bad piece of fruit, it can corrupt the rest of them. So I guess that's a good sort of thing, once you have mould in one area, it can spread. So you might as well try and tackle it as soon as possible.
Yeah. And I just like that it's another example of really showing, all the ways that the AI is really becoming a tool now to help solve other problems. Such a wide range.
Yeah, literally. I think, I think a lot of this stuff as well could have been solved before AI was around, but I like how it's given a kick up the bum, shall we say, to people.
I think it's really accelerating that.
Ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Ideas and execution, baby.
And we'll see next week, what DeepSeek's up to, if it disrupts another global market, or, what happens then.
Well, apparently part of it was crashing because it had not anticipated the numbers of the users, the app, so they've had to sort of allocate extra resource.
That would be funny if they were oh yeah, it doesn't use as much because actually they've only anticipated a small amount of users, and then when they scale up they're like, oh yeah, no, actually we are using quite a lot of computation.
The whole world is using this. Oh my gosh, it's been an interesting week anyway with the Chinese apps and Chinese tech versus American tech. So yeah, let's see what happens in the future.
We'll be back at same time next week for another episode of Tech Girl Energy, the weekly debrief. But in the meantime, Harriet, if people want to find us on socials, where do they go?
It is Tech Girl Energy on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, YouTube Shorts and Facebook.
This has been an I Am Listening exclusive podcast. For more information, head over to our website, im-listening.co.uk.